Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Anxiety and Depression is Not the End. Today's topic is going to be about how powerful your mind can be. Last episode I did talk about how my anxiety started and how it started to really change my life. It was something that I never expected because obviously I've never, been through going through anxiety or being that depressed. I've been sad before, yes, but I just never really hit that far, to the depths of darkness. Never thought that I would ever experience it. But it started to get really bad. The anxiety just started to control everything. And at first I didn't really realize it, how powerful your mind can be, right? And not until I started to realize that things weren't changing. My life, the only thing I was changing was my life was getting worse, right? But I was looking for, something to happen, like positive things to happen, right? But it just, every single day when I woke up in the morning, it wasn't able to become my reality. And, that's what happens when your mind is just so full of negative thoughts, that these thoughts, it's almost like there's somebody right beside you whispering in your ear and telling you all these bad things, right? Telling you that, the things you don't want to hear, right? It starts telling you that, you're worthless, you're weak, and you have no future ahead of you. Those are the things that you don't want to listen to, right? But that is the thing that anxiety, and when you're depressed, it does to you. And when it gets really bad, I started to realize that because I didn't have that thought of trying to do something about it. So what I did was I kind of let my mind just do all the talking. And as I was doing that, it was controlling my life. I was listening to every single thing it was telling me. And, those mornings when I woke up, when those thoughts, the first thing that I heard of in my head was, it was telling me something bad. It was telling me that I'm not going to have a good day. At first, the first thing, like obviously when you hear something like that, you're gonna not think positively, right? And so that's how my day continued on, because once I started to think of one negative thought, more came, more negative thoughts came. And, at one point it got so bad that there was too many negative thoughts. And, that's when my anxiety started to get really bad. I started to get my panic attacks. I couldn't breathe because I couldn't control my thoughts anymore. I felt like I was being attacked every single day. And one of the things that when I told myself that, hey, you know what, I can't continue to listen to these negative thoughts anymore. What am I going to do about it? What are the things that I can do about it? So that's when I started reading quotes, and one of the quotes that really got to me was the one that said, whatever consumes your mind will become your reality. And I thought about that a lot. I thought about, it really makes sense. What am I thinking about every single day? I'm thinking about how dark my world is. I'm thinking how weak I am. I'm thinking about how I'm never going to heal myself. And, as I started to dive deeper into my mind, I started to find out what other things am I telling myself, right? What are the things that are actually bringing me down and causing me to think that I have no future, to tell me that there's no way I can find my happiness ever again, that, I'm always going to be lying on this couch, crying every single day, yelling at the top of my lungs. Those are the thoughts that were all consuming my mind every single day. And guess what happened? Every day when I woke up in the morning, that's exactly what happened, right? So, one of the things that I had to do, after reading that one quote, it was just one quote, but it was so powerful that I had to start working up here. What am I going to do up here to fix things? How am I going to do it, first of all? Because I'm basically drowning in negative thoughts. So what am I supposed to do, right? Because I think the hardest thing to do is when you feel you're at the bottom of all these like really negative thoughts, dark thoughts, right? How are you supposed to crawl yourself out of that? Start climbing that mountain. and so that you could start seeing the light again, right? And and one of the things that I realized that I wasn't doing was I wasn't being productive. You know, the only thing I was doing every single day was I was lying on the couch, pacing back and forth my house, just telling myself how horrible my life was, right? So I had to do something about that. I had to make changes. And one of the most important things is that you're going to have to change your routine. What are you doing on a daily basis? Are you doing the same exact thing every single day, right? And that may be you just sitting there, lying down, or actually just sitting down and just thinking about how horrible your life is, right? I didn't want my life to be like that anymore. I wanted to make changes. So, I had to basically force myself, right? Because I had a goal. My goal was to heal myself, and my goal was to find my joy and happiness. And then I told myself, you know what? Hey, I'm going to do whatever it takes for myself to get there, right? So, I had to force myself off that couch. I had to force myself to do things, to do something productive, right? Lying on the couch all day is not productive. Thinking about negative thoughts all day is not productive, right? You're actually harming yourself. So I had to do something positive, right? And what was that? I challenged myself. I told myself, I need to do something that's going to make me want to do something tomorrow. And after I do that, it's going to make me want to do more the next day, right? So, the biggest challenge for me was I went downstairs to my basement and I saw what a big mess it was. And if you've been following my Facebook page, you know about my story about cleaning the basement. And I will talk about that because that's going to lead into my next episode where I'm going to talk about focus. But the main thing here, guys, is that, your mind is pretty much everything. It's going to, whatever you're thinking up there, whatever is going on up here, it is basically creating the world that you see yourself in, right? So if you want to start living in a more positive world, the obvious thing you have to do is start thinking positive. But there's also a lot of things that you have to do in order to start thinking positive, right? And number one is focus, which I'm going to talk about next episode. And also, another thing that I learned about, most importantly, is loving yourself. Loving yourself is so important because once you start doing that, your life is going to change. Everything is going to change. The people that surround you, that's going to change. Your whole environment is going to change, right? But the first step is focus, right? And once you start learning how to focus, because with focus, you're going to start clearing all those negative thoughts in your head. And once you start clearing that fog that's in your head, you're going to have a clear vision of where you want to go. And once you start having more clear vision, you're going to be able to start spending more time and attention on yourself, like taking care of yourself, doing the things that is going to bring you joy and happiness, right? So there are steps involved. So if you're going through anxiety and depression right now, after watching this series and you start learning about some of the steps that I took on how I started to heal myself and then eventually healed myself, hopefully, all the things that I'm saying and how I tell my story is going to give you a little bit of hope. It's going to pave you a brighter path for you to start heading towards, so that you can start, seeing your brighter and happier days. Because I know if you really, really put your mind to it and you're willing to do whatever it takes to get there, you're going to get there. Okay, so I will catch you next video. Hopefully it will be soon, and hopefully you learned something today, and I'll catch you next video.